Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Thank you all for watching my previous video, for liking my videos, for giving it a thumbs up. Thank you all, I appreciate. So for today's video, I'll be teaching us how to draft a basic pencil skirt with a slit in front. So I was cutting it out, then I said let me just share my knowledge with you all. So if you find this video helpful, give this video a thumbs up, like and subscribe to my channel. So let's get started. I've drawn out my starting line. Then I'm also going to take my hip measurement. That is, I'm going to take the distance between my waist to my hip, which is 9 inches. Then from my waist I'm going to be minusing my half length, which is 17 inches. Then I'm also going to mark my full length, that is the skirt length I'm working with, which is 46 inches. Then I'm going to draw the lines out like so. Then the next thing I'm going to be doing is to take my horizontal measurement. So I'm going to take my hip measurement, which is 40 inches divided by 4, plus half an inch for easiness, and then 1.5 for seam allowance. Then the next thing I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be taking my waist measurement, that is the waist measurement of 29 inches divided by 4, plus my ease allowance plus my seam allowance. Then I'm going to go over to my skirt length. My skirt length, then on my skirt length I'm going to be minusing 2 inches from my hip line, which is 40 minus 2 will give me 38. Whatever it give me, I'm going to place that measurement like so. Then my half inch for ease, then 1.5 for seam allowance. Then I'm going to connect all these lines together. So I'm connecting the line like so, from my skirt length to my hip, then straight down to my waist. Then I will cut it out like so. I'll cut it out like so. As you can see, I'm making sure none of it is, the ankara is not shifted. I'm cutting straight on that line. Then I'll take my front, I'm folding the remaining fabric, I'll fold it into 2 like so. I'll fold my fabric into 2. I'll fold my fabric into 2, making sure I'm leaving enough space to accommodate my zip allowance. I'm going to be leaving 2 inches from the center front of the back, 2 inches from the center front of the back. I'm going to be leaving 2 inches. Then I'll place my front on it like so. I'll be using the front to cut out my back piece like so. Make sure everything is well laid down. Then the next thing I'm going to be doing is, from my waist I'll be taking measurement of 10 inches, which I'm going to mark down. From that 10 inches I will also be taking 6 inches, which I'm going to mark as shown in the video. From my waist I'll be taking 10 inches. Then from that 10 inches I will also be taking 6 inches. I'm doing this to sort of accommodate my butt, like our back is not straight. Then from on that 10 inches I'll be taking 2 inches. Then on the 6 inches I'll be taking 1.5 inch. On the 6 inches I'll be taking 1.5 inch all the way down to my skirt length. 1.5 like so, 1.5 like so. Then on my waist I'm going to be taking 1.5. I noticed that the camera was not positioned very well, but on my waist I took 1.5 inch also. Then I'll connect the 1.5 inch to the 2 inches, then also to the 1.5 inch I have at the skirt length of the back. I'll connect the lines together. I'm trying to do this to sort of accommodate my butt. it's more like contouring your back piece. So when you do this, you have like a butt lift at the back. Your back is not straight. Cutting it straight will not give you a nice fitting at the back. So always try to sort of contour your back when you are cutting your skirt piece, especially your pencil skirts. So I'm going to be folding my front, the front allowance I had before. I'm going to be folding it like so. As you can see, I'll fold it very well. Then I'm going to cut out the back piece and the front. I'm going to cut out the back piece on a straight line. I'll also cut out the place I add my zip allowance and the place I contoured the back, the lines I showed. I'll cut it out like so. Then I'll notch it. As you can see, it's looking like it's the hip, so I have to notch that zipper allowance to know that it is not the hip side but the zipper side. Then I'll take it aside like so. Then the next thing I'm going to be doing is I'm going to take my front piece from the center front. I'm going to come down by half an inch. Then I'll connect it. I'll cut out like so. I will join. Then I'll cut it out like so. So I have my front piece and I have my back piece ready. The next thing I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be cutting out my lining piece, using my front piece to cut out the lining piece. The difference between the lining piece and the front piece is that the lining piece is going to be shorter with like 2 inches or 3 inches, depending on you. It depends on you. Sometimes I use 1.5 inch, sometimes I use 2 inch. So I'm going to take my front and place it on the lining, making sure the lining aligned with the ankara like so. The center, the middle is aligning together. So what I'm going to be doing next is I'm going to be folding on the ankara piece. I'm going to be folding in 2 inches. Remember, I told you that the difference between the ankara, the fabric, the main fabric, and the lining is that the lining is shorter with 2 inches. So I'm going to be folding in 2 inches like so. I'll fold my 2 inches like so. I'll check I'll check it all around if it's 2 inches on fold. So I'll fold 2 inches, 2 inches, then I'll cut it out. I'm cutting out the excess fabric. So yeah, I have my lining piece and I have my ankara, my main fabric. Then I'll also fold my lining for the back piece also. I'll fold it into two. Then I'll take one of the ankara for the back, one of the ankara for the back. I'll take it and place it on the lining piece like so. Remember, for the front we folded in 2 inches on the ankara. Same thing I did for the front, same thing I'm going to do for the back. I'm going to fold in 2 inches. I'll check all round, is it 2 inches? I'll fold in 2 inches, then I'll cut out. That is the difference between your main fabric and the lining you are using. So it depends on you. You can decide to use 2 inches, you can decide to use 3 inches. If you want the ankara to show very well at the back, at the M line, you can decide to use like 3 or 4 inches. So I'll cut out the excess fabric. Make sure when you are cutting, the Ankara piece doesn't shift. It is well placed. When you are cutting, you place them well. That means the Ankara is aligning with the lining you are using. So I'll place it aside. That means we have our Ankara piece. So the next thing I'm going to be doing is I iron the front piece to get my middle. I iron the front piece, the main fabric and the lining I'm using. Then I'll be taking 4" for my dart allowance, 4" for my dart, 4" for my dart. Then I'll notch that place. I'll notch it like so. Then I'll open it up. Now you can see the middle. The middle is showing a line in the middle. So from that middle, I'll be taking 4" all the way down from my waist straight to the skirt length, 4" all the way down. The basic pencil skirt I'm doing has a slit in front, so me taking my dart 4" all the way down, I'm cutting it all through because it will serve as my slit in front. I hope you understand what I mean by this. So I'll cut it out. I'll put it aside. Same thing I did for the front, same thing apply to the lining of the front. So I'm going to open it up like so. I'll open it up like so. As you can see from the middle, you measure 4" all the way down. This will serve as your slit. This will serve as the place your slit will be. 4" all the way down, 4" all the way down, and you cut it out like so. Then you connect the lines together. Make sure it is on 4". And I'll cut it out, making sure to follow the line. As you can see, I have my front piece ready, and I also have my back piece ready. My back piece is ready, my front piece is also ready. It's left for me now to take it over to the sewing machine and sew. I'll be sewing my front piece together and then my back piece together. So if you find this video helpful, give this video a thumbs up, like, subscribe to my channel. Thank you.